This is Group 2's Data Meeting 3 on connecting gaps and setting a target learning goal. This was our agenda for the meeting. The exploratory question that we focused on is, how are we currently differentiating and scaffolding our multiplication lessons to meet the needs of all learners, particularly those with IEPs? We had discussion based on our artifacts to determine the priority learning gaps and instructional gaps. Our first priority learning gap was key vocabulary, and through our research, we found that increased rigor from Common Core requires students to read lengthy and complex problems, even in mathematics. And these can be especially challenging for English language learners and students with special needs. Students may have difficulty understanding not only the academic language, but the written directions as well. As a result, many ELL students are unnecessarily staffed into special education services when what they really needed was vocabulary intervention. Our second priority instructional gap was rushed pacing, and we found a direct correlation between rushed pacing and some of our learning gaps, such as lack of prerequisite skills. And based on research of a study of 6 teachers, they found that meeting the needs of students is more important than just implementing the curriculum without the thought of how the pacing affects the students. That yes, teachers have curriculum pacing calendars, but they really need to be focused on the students' needs and finding that balance between the calendar and following that pacing and also the sequence of learning on student needs. Our third priority instructional gap was the lack of models and visuals in teaching. And there are many benefits to providing math modeling activities for students to apply solutions to solve math formulas. Studies have found that teachers who taught using modeling techniques were able to better engage their students in active mathematic discussion with their peers. Educators need to focus less on developing procedural competency and more on developing conceptual understanding. However, most elementary school teachers receive minimal professional development, so that is an area of weakness. Our fourth priority instructional gap was the documentation of accommodations. And there was a study that found that teachers need more professional development in the basic principles of assessment and specifically in addressing accommodations for their ELL and special education students. In a study of 4th grade students with and without disabilities, their performance on math and science assessments with accommodations was affected based on whether or not they did in fact receive those accommodations. So we have to be accountable to whether or not we are giving our students what they need. So based on our research and our gaps, we determined our SMART goal. By the end of the multiplication unit, at least 70% of students will be able to depict multiplication word problems using arrays with at least 80% accuracy on 3 out of 4 assessments. The measure used. Students will be assessed based on 4 teacher-created multiplication quizzes that focus on using arrays to depict word problems. So what does this all mean with moving forward? To improve student scores and reach our SMART goal, students will receive hands-on direct instruction modeling of how arrays represent multiplication. Students will construct arrays using manipulatives for a variety of real-world multiplication scenarios. IEPs will be closely monitored and the use of appropriate accommodations will be documented. Key vocabulary will be directly taught and reinforced. Math journals will be used to record definitions with visuals. Teachers will modify pacing to address reteaching of skills, and teachers will use exit tickets to inform daily instruction. And finally, teachers will receive professional development for math strategies and IEP accommodations. All in all, we had several strengths as a reflection with our meeting. All team members were on time and prepared, conversation was focused and productive, all ideas were valued and shared, and we were comfortable using Skype. One area of improvement for the future is to just make sure we have full clarification of any misunderstandings prior to our meeting.